So one of the last things I want to touch on is automation. And, one of the interesting things with having our guest from Cobod, which is the concrete 3D printing company, their founder, he explained that they have a lot of younger workers really excited to work in construction because they're doing this high tech work. Like 3D printing is fascinating. Like I could watch it, it's just mesmerizing, right? And so when you think about like the millennial and the Gen Z generation, younger kids with a higher tech background, right? They've grown up with smartphones and laptops and all this crazy stuff. Like Alan's still using a flip phone over there. I'm just kidding. But you've got to pick on the boomers here and there, right? But you're going to have a really young tech savvy workforce now, and just increasingly in the future. Do you feel like as construction becomes more automated, more interesting, more computer based, more tech heavy, do you feel like that's going to be a good thing? And what do you see for the workers that would be manning your robotic technology?
I have a really good example here. We had an intern who was a great student in high school, 4.0, incredible student. Got into a computer science program, and the reality is not everybody loves programming, right? Even though there's a saying, software is eating the world. There's many people who want to work with their hands on actual things, but they're missing out, right? Because there's a lot of those things traditionally are not very exciting, right? Those are low-paying jobs. They're less, more stressful jobs, right? But this student went to college, didn't do very well, kind of dropped out. Perfect student, right? 4.0 student in high school. So, but then came to our shop and started working with us. And we could see his face light up, right? He's doing more advanced work than actually what is taught in universities today, in many graduate programs, right? So we have seen this over and over when we get interns coming in, either in first year, second year of undergrad, and their faces just light up just by the fact that they're allowed to touch a teach pen and to drive a robot. So we believe, we have to think about our manufacturing workforce is aging at a very rapid pace. In fact, not just in the US, but across the world. And that is an impending problem. But manufacturing is one of those things that never goes away. We get more efficient at it, so we need to upgrade our skills. And best way to upgrade our skills is bring in the younger generation, and they're excited about robots. They're excited about the use of AR and VR in to look and visualize things, and it's just cool. In fact, it's cool for anybody, even older people. They're like, it's exciting for everybody, I think. So we need to take advantage of that. And, we have to acknowledge that there are real implications short term. And we have to proactively manage and work with those. And training is a big part of it. Training within universities, colleges, community colleges, even, right? And also vocational training for older people, right? We have to really systematically address these problems. But I think the future is exciting, and technology never stops. You can pretend it's not coming, but it's going to keep coming. And either you can, jump on the bandwagon, or you'll be left behind. We went to Denmark a few times. It's crazy. It's like barely anybody around, but everything is perfect.
Yeah, like robot lawnmowers everywhere.
Yeah, and everything is like just beautifully, landscaped, and we see these tiny robots running around everywhere. The Danish are known for their robotics, actually, right? And there's a town called Odense, I think. It's a tiny town of like 200,000 people, but they are the most advanced in robotics. One of the most leading institutions in the world. I mean, so I think we have to look at this as an opportunity, and they're actually exporting their know-how and technology across the world. And it's interesting, they do it because they don't have a choice. They actually have very few people to start with. They don't have enough people, outside doing landscaping. So they, by necessity, ended up doing this. But the point here is the technology is going to come one way or another. And the more efficient we get more ambitious, and we start doing more things. Wind turbine, for example. The market is gigantic in the next 2, 3, 4 decades, right? The amount of growth that's coming. We actually cannot do it in a traditional way. It doesn't scale.
Yeah, that's right on, Amolak. I do note there's some fears over this sort of thing. Oh, the robots are going to come take our jobs. I think that's not truthful at all. First off, robots are really difficult to make. The people, the education level required to make these things, they're beautiful, elegant pieces of machinery. So someone had to do that. So the way I characterize it is thus. Industry 1.0, right? That was, energy that was beyond human power, right? That stronger things, steam engines, coal, right? That was about extra force and even extra speed. Industry 2.0 was electrification, electric lights, electric conveyor belts, power drills, not hand crank drills. And it enabled people to have tools that magnified them. They were levers that got bigger and bigger, right? That's electrification. Then you look at Industry 3.0, and that's superhumanism. This is what Robots 1.0 does for you. And so robots are faster and more precise and don't get tired. And if you want to make the same thing over and over again, boom, 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 boom. You can plug in 1 million connectors a day with a single robot. So one person driving a single robot has more opportunity to change the world. Again, remember, in the first world, Japan, Korea, United States, China, we're seeing a decline in the number of people that are working age as time goes on. So what's going to fill that gap? Because the trend is going to be you in your lifetime are going to put out and use more kilowatts per man hour per lifetime than ever before. How do we keep that trend going? Industry 4.0 is unleashed creativity. So you can say, yeah, I've got the robots and they can do this, they're superhuman, there's electricity I can see all the time, whatever. But what's really going on is you have computers, you have a digital workspace, the matrix, if one wants to think of it that way. And you can have a single person with a tremendous influence on the future. And so what our students find in that is the liberation to actually think more deeply and to be much more creative. And then the outcome, you can throw things a lot further along. And so also the other thing is we build a lot of drones, and you put the goggles on and now you can fly around, right? That's liberation, it's exploration. It's kind of what spacecraft enable us to do. So as we think about extending human reach to different planets, you're going to have automated factories on the ground that have been mobilized and hardened for spacecraft-like operations. And who's going to drive those things? And what things can they enable? And at some point, you're going to have a bubble of capability that's going to encompass the human condition. You can refine your air, clean your water, grow your food, move around, fix your car. And all these different things are going to come out of an increasingly smaller number of tools. So what the end of Industry 4.0 gives us with all that is the ability to take these machines, mobilize them, miniaturize them, and then democratize them. And so as you look at the third world, right? So what are these people going to do? They all going to move to cities and evolve from telegraphs to telephones to the iPhone or something like that? No, my friend, they're going to leapfrog over all those technological steps to the next evolution. And when you have a circular economy that's been mobilized and miniaturized, there's no need for cities. And in fact, all these different villages can build their own power generation systems. And then that will have a tremendous impact in enabling actually the global human population to increase without having global pollution increase at the same time. So ultimately, that's really our mission.
Sorry, I have so many jokes I want to throw in. Like,
Go for it.
example, you do want robots to not get tired until they're chasing you on a motorcycle with a shotgun. And secondly,
that's bad programming.
Yeah, we can't. Well, and secondly, we don't want manufacturing to go away, because how are we ever going to fulfill our American dream of clogging every planet with garbage? That's why we need manufacturing, to make all the styrofoam cups so Americans can ruin all the other planets in the solar system.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. It's definitely us.